Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good morning, folks. Breaking news out of South Africa, which comes from Yusuf Abramji, talking about an event that occurred last night in which people were arrested for contravening basically mercenary laws in South Africa. It's a huge story breaking at this hour, Saturday morning, November 29th, 2025. Yusuf Abramji puts this out there last night. He says the following: 4 suspects are expected to appear before the Kempton Park Magistrates Court on Monday, the 1st of December, 2025, following their arrest on Friday, the 28th of November, last night, on suspicion of contravening the regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act 15 of 1998. Specifically, what are we talking about here, folks? Well, we're talking about Abramji's post identifying SAFM, South African Radio, SAFM presenter was identified as a person involved in this. This is big news, folks. Here you go. This is from Rapport. And Yusuf Abramji identified SAFM presenter Nonkululeko Mantula. Nonkululeko Mantula as a female facilitator among 4 arrested at OR Tambo for allegedly recruiting South Africans to join Russia's military in violation of the Foreign Military Assistance Act. Oh, it's getting hot, folks, in South Africa. It's crazy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may be wondering why Donald Trump is taking a more strenuous approach to South Africa, using lots of excuses. But as I've said before, and I did a short video on this just the other day with speculation, with no evidence to support it, but having decades of experience in the U.S. intelligence community, I question, is there a reason why Donald Trump is suddenly so angry at South Africa after being so patient with them for month after month? Well, I'm telling you that the U.S. intelligence community has probably informed Donald Trump of many things, including its open support for Russia that's occurring. So why are is the South African government arresting these people for violation of an act from 1998? I can surmise that apparently they realize that they are in deep kimchi with the United States now, and they're not going to get out of this. Why else would they go after their own folks who are responsible, people working, patronage puppies who work in ANC apparatchik areas? This is a huge development in South Africa, folks. Dr. Mantulela Nonkululeko, Patricia. Anyway, so this, she's got a doctorate, but she's obviously, apparently, according to the government, recruiting people to participate in a conflict illegally participate in a conflict. This is big news, and we're covering it now in the midst of rugby that's going on. I've got a lot going on here, but we are covering this today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll continue to cover the story as more of it comes out, but let me continue with the information we have now. The arrest followed a tip-off from OR Tambo Police SAPS regarding 4 males who were en route to Russia via the United Arab Emirates. Now, these individuals were intercepted and removed from the boarding gate after being flagged as suspicious and subsequently referred to the Hawks Crimes Against the State, CATS section. A preliminary investigation revealed that a South African female had allegedly been facilitating the travel and recruitment of these individuals into the Russian Federation military. Now, folks, how often has this been going on for the past 2 years? 2.5 years. Has it been going on, or is it a recent development? We've already seen allegations and now charges against Dududzila Zuma Sambudla for the exact same sort of thing, sending black men off to die in the Russian conflict. What is happening here? So South Africa is a rogue state? Well, perhaps not if they're arresting individuals for this, but we know, of course, that the South African government has not done anything to prevent the shipment of illicit military hardware to a warlord in the Libyan eastern side. Libyan warlord receiving hardware helicopters from South Africa used for military purposes in violation of UN sanctions against that Libyan warlord. South Africa has presented itself as a rogue nation to the world with its illegitimate case against Israel in the International Court of Justice, and now its refusal to participate in any sort of case in the ICJ against Myanmar, but suddenly stepping up against Israel. And of course, its friendly ties with Iran and with Hamas, which have put it in the bad light. So if you wonder why the United States is angry at South Africa, it has very little to do with Donald Trump and very much a lot to do with this sort of activity. And maybe this is why the South African government is cracking down on it. A search and seizure warrant was executed for an individual suspect believed to be involved in the facilitation of 4 men, as well as a 5th individual who had already departed South Africa for Russia. Upon the suspect's arrival at OR Tambo on the 27th of November, the individual was interviewed, during which further evidence was uncovered. This resulted in the arrest of 3 additional suspects last night. Electronic gadgets and 2 backpacks were seized for further investigation. Coordination with intelligence structures and international counterparts is ongoing to determine the full extent of the network and any further potential security threats. So now we have further evidence of transgressions by South African nationals, not necessarily by the government of South Africa, by South African nationals who are supporting Russia's conflict in Ukraine and being recruited to fight there. Do they think that this wouldn't be discovered? Do they think the Ukrainians wouldn't come across dead black soldiers wearing Russian uniforms and not put that before the world stage? These people are not particularly bright, or they just don't care. They think they can get away with this because criminal syndicates have been acting with impunity in South Africa for years. My goodness, folks. So this is huge. If you wonder why Donald Trump is upset with South Africa, this is yet one more example of the things that the intelligence community knows that you don't know and I don't necessarily know. I can surmise and analyze without context, but I'm not at all surprised by this. So, South Africa, are they trying to get back in the good grace of the United States? I don't know. I doubt it. But maybe somebody's just doing their job. Will this be quietly dismissed, or will these people be prosecuted to the full extent of the law? That remains to be seen. We shall see. But the bottom line today, folks, is that there were a number of arrests at OR Tambo last night from South Africans involved in recruiting people to go die in the Russian conflict. And none other than a government paid employee, SAFM, that's right there she is. There she is, Dr. Nonkululeku Mantula, excuse me. There she is. That's a person who's the facilitator according to the arrest warrant. Yep, unbelievable. Except it is believable. MK apparently involved, or they disavow knowledge, but their main face in Parliament is Duduzile Zuma Sambula, but no more. She resigned from that position yesterday. And why? Because it appears she's brought disfavor upon the MK party, involving them, at least on public appearances, of being involved in a recruiting scam or scheme to recruit black Africans to go fight a war in Russia. This is in clear violation of 1998 Act in South Africa and is punishable. And so, wow, all kinds of stuff going on here. This is what South Africans are up to when the people aren't paying attention. This is a contravening the regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act 15 of 1998. Can you believe it? Yep. So how long has this been going on? How long has the South African government known about this? Are they only now taking action? These are all questions which legitimate journalists would ask. Let's see if any South African journalists ask the following questions. How long has this been going on? Number one. How widespread is this network? Number two. Which, if any, politicians for any party are involved in this? Number three. And will they be prosecuted? Number four. Or just a slap on the wrist. There are questions that legitimate journalists need to ask and be on top of this story as it's breaking today, the 29th of November, 2025. This is an unplanned live broadcast from my studio in central Pennsylvania as a consequence of breaking news. Yusuf Abrangi published this information on Twitter about this arrest last night. Where is the Department of National Relations and Cooperation in regard to this? Have they made a statement? Has Ramaphosa made a statement? This is huge news, perhaps not outside South Africa, but inside South Africa. It is massively large news that there are agents working for the government, albeit in the media. And once again, what did I tell you about South Africa's media, folks? A lot of fake journalists. And here we have someone who's not a journalist, but if in fact they're guilty of these crimes, they're acting as an agent of a foreign state to recruit South Africans to fight the war in Russia on Russia's behalf. How many wrongs were in that statement? Several wrongs. Unbelievable. People think that no one's going to pay attention, but this will be massive news in South Africa as it unfolds today and over the weekend. By Monday, there will be probably every possible media outlet at that magistrate's court to show up and see what's going to happen in Kempton Park on Monday. Now, of course, it takes place in Kempton Park because the arrest took place at OR Tambo, which is located in Kempton Park, and therefore the magistrates must deal with this case. This is crazy. Yes, where is Network 24, Media 24, IOL? And where are they at? Let's go now. I'm going to look at these sites and see if there's anything there. News 24, we'll go to Times Live, we'll go to IOL. That's not IOL. We'll go to IOL. There's IOL. And let's also go to the Daily Maverick. Actually, they are reporting on it. Let's see what we got here. Daily Maverick. This is a story. Let's see how much they cover it. Where did the Daily Maverick go? There it is, Daily Maverick. Let's see. News 24, 4 people, all right, including well-known media personnel arrested in Russian mercenary case. So News 24 has the story. Times Live has the story. It is being covered. This will not be covered up. This story will be covered. Yep, but Daily Maverick is not covering it at this hour. So let's take a look at these reports. Here it is. 4 people, including well-known media personality, arrested in Russian mercenary case. Yep. 3 men who were allegedly headed to Russia to fight as mercenaries for the Russian army were arrested at OR Tambo on Friday. Another person, a woman, is alleged to have recruited them, is also arrested. News 24 has learned that one of those arrested is a prominent media personality, and I've already mentioned who that is. Hawks spokesperson Colonel Calejo Mojale said the arrest followed a tip-off by the SAPS. They're intercepted on boarding a gate, flagged as suspicious, and hand over to the Hawks Crimes Against the State Unit. And we've just got a super chat that came in. Thank you for that super chat, student 798. 7 Rand, clouds are gathering. There you go. So here's a picture of the MK folks that are fighting this war in Russia. The arrests come as News 24 continues to report on at least 18 South African men who say they were misled into believing that they were being sent for bodyguard training in Russia, only to find themselves deployed to the front lines of the Ukraine. The Hawks say 4 men arrested en route to Russia, military recruitment scandal. And this is the breaking story at this hour. The Hawks arrested 4 people at OR Tambo Friday en route to Russia. Individuals intercepted and removed from the boarding gate as being flagged as suspicious, subsequently referred to Hawks Crimes Against the State Unit. Preliminary investigation found the South African female had allegedly been facilitating the travel and recruitment of these individuals into the Russian Federation military. Wow. So, but none of these stories mention, and how recently are these stories? This story was published at 4:08 p.m. That would be 7 hours, 4:08 p.m. It is currently at this hour in Russia. It is, so it was within the hour, and they didn't announce who the person's name is. Hawks arrest 4 over alleged recruitment of South Africans in the Russian military. And this one says pretty much the same thing, nothing additional there. So there you have the situation today, folks, what's happening at OR Tambo. Thank you for tuning into this. I will keep you updated as the story unfolds, but we have major news breaking now in South Africa. Russia-Ukraine war, black women most affected. South African media is the propaganda machine for the Communist Party, and now they're feeding their members as scapegoats. Trump is going to war with Venezuela. Potentially, Richard, I did a short video on that a few minutes ago. If you could check that out, another breaking story. Yep. And is this simply take attention away from the behavior towards the United States? I don't know. Yeah. This is what they're doing to save their own people. Does this also count as slave trade, says Chelton De Beer? I don't know, perhaps. Get the feeling there was never any bodyguard training. It looks more. No, there was never any bodyguard training. That's just a sham. That's just a scam. They're just trying to mislead people and think we're all stupid. There was never bodyguard training. This is always mercenary conduct. Always mercenary conduct. Yeah, absolutely. This is going to cause big cocksuit, Loretta. It is going to cause it. And it's going to cause a lot of trouble on this side of the Atlantic. Donald Trump and the White House, if they didn't already know about it, which I'm pretty confident they did from the intelligence community, now they're definitely going to make a lot of hay over this. Now, here's the thing. The Trump administration, the intelligence community probably knew about this already, but they couldn't disclose it publicly because it would compromise sources. Now that it's in the press, it's public knowledge, they can come out and talk about it. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if his daughter didn't drop some names to cut a deal for herself. You know what? You're probably right about that, Sean Murphy. Isn't it funny how suddenly SAPS is cognizant of people flying to Russia and they go there every day, and now suddenly they pay attention? Yes, I don't doubt that Duduzilla is trying to save her backside, and she probably dropped dimes. I haven't found out yet. There was an article released about the ward counselor resigning because of the threats against her. No, I already covered that. You're talking about in Joburg. I covered that a few days ago. That's old news. Thank you for that. Only bodies they are guarding as their own. Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy, folks. It is absolutely getting crazy what's happening in South Africa. Is it a rogue nation? Is it a nation out of control? Well, some would argue that point, allowing weapons to be shipped to Libyan warlords in violation. Thank you, Exposing False Prophets. Thank you for subscribing. It is insane. 4 picks. Okay, now what have you got for me there? Hang on a second. Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, I don't see Mad Max. Where's something? There we go. Mad Max. Oh, yeah, I saw those 4 pics. Yeah, that's not related to this. Thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. Yeah, and Israel's kidnapping very loud, is clapping very loud. See, you point one finger at someone else and 3 fingers back at you. Think the USA will get it right to deport Omar? Ilhan Omar is a U.S. citizen. You can't deport her unless she fraudulently got her citizenship, which many claim to be the case. Folks, I'm going to have to wrap it up here, but that's the breaking news out of South Africa. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. Once again, I'll run through this, and then I've got Springboks. Well, I can stay for a few more minutes, but then I've got the Springboks coming up at the top of the hour. But 4 suspects are expected to appear before the Kempton Park Magistrates Court on Monday, the 1st of December, 2025, following the arrest yesterday, the 28th of November, on suspicion of contravening the regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act 15 of 1998. Youssef Amperji's post on Twitter identified SAFM presenter Nonkulukuleku Mantula as the female facilitator among 4 arrested OR Tambo for allegedly recruiting South Africans to join Russia's military in violation of the Foreign Military Assistance Act. The arrest followed a tip-off from OR Tambo SAPS regarding 4 males who were en route to Russia via the United Arab Emirates. Now, why did SAPS tip them off? Maybe they tipped them off because they were tipped off by none other than Dudadzila Zuma Sambudla. The individuals were intercepted and removed from the boarding gate after being flagged as suspicious and subsequently referred to the Hawks Crimes Against the State Section, CATS. A preliminary investigation revealed that a South African female had allegedly been facilitating the travel and recruitment of these individuals into the Russian Federation military, and have addressed her as that South African famous presenter. SAFM. A search and seizure warrant was executed for an additional suspect believed to be involved in the facilitation of 4 men, as well as a 5th individual who had already departed South Africa for Russia. Upon the suspect's arrival at OR Tambo, presumably that's the SAFM presenter, the individual was interviewed, during which further evidence was uncovered. This resulted in the arrest of 3 additional suspects on the 28th of November 2025. Electronic gadgets, 2 backpacks were seized for further investigation. Coordination with intelligence structures and international counterparts is ongoing to determine the full extent of the network and any further potential security threats. So, well, here's the question. What is going on with South African women recruiting suckers to go die in Russia? Why are South African women recruiting suckers to go die in Russia? We have an arrest warrant for a female presenter here, and we have evidence and allegations that Dudadzila Zuma Sambula is doing the same. What is going on here? What kind of scam are women doing here? Is this the future of South Africa? I don't need any help with names. You can bite me. I don't need any help. Yeah, I can pronounce names when they come in proper languages like Tswana. If it's in Tswana, I can pronounce it. Yeah, but I'm not going to be able to pronounce that name. No, I can pronounce Tswana names perfectly fine. Yeah. Mohali, I pronounce very fine. Yeah, Kimotswana. But I don't need help with pronouncing those names. That's a ridiculously long name that's difficult for anyone to pronounce that isn't from South Africa. Epic and shameful. It is epic and shameful. Money and paying back Russian favors. And that's the bottom line here. Zuma is in tight with the Russians, Jacob Zuma, and who knows if this was a part of a deal with that. All right, folks, that's going to do it. I have to wrap up. I have a Springboks coming up live. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind. And feel free to leave a comment behind. And you can also, if you want to leave a comment behind, tell me that I can't pronounce. They're not indigenous, by the way. The only indigenous names in South Africa are Khoi and San. The Nguni-speaking peoples of South Africa are not indigenous. They are immigrants. They are colonists. They are settlers who arrived 1,300 years ago after crossing the Zambezi and then Limpopo rivers, invading southern Africa. They're not indigenous people. The indigenous people of South Africa are the Khoi and the San people. So we're going to set that straight, okay? Among the Nguni-speaking people, some of the languages are a little difficult for me as an Anglo-Saxon to pronounce. But when it comes to Tswana names, hey, no problem. Kimotswana. All right, ke alaboa, folks. Thanks for watching the program. Be sure to hit the like button, and we'll catch you hopefully over on Rugby Ascendant. And you also check out my short video a short while ago about Donald Trump has closed the airspace over Venezuela. All right, that's going to do it, folks. There's the link to the game. Thanks, Chris Wyatt, for putting it up, and that's going to be it here. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to share this video far and wide on social media so people hear this news up close and personal as it breaks. And I'll get you updates as the day goes along. Thanks for being here. God bless. Cheers.